Just today, discuss some media kit myths, 7 keys or the 7 Ps of a great media kit, and then go over some examples and a template. So a little bit about myself. I'm Kenny Katzgrau. I'm the creator of Broadstreet. I'm the publisher of Red Bank Green, formerly an engineer at Yahoo and Mozilla, a few other places, but I'm from Red Bank, New Jersey, husband to Katie, who many of you know is one of Broadstreet's earliest salespeople. My wife since 2011. I'm the dad to 2 boys, Kenny and Will, the most optimistic duo on the planet. Ken and Will. And we
Nice.
got
Well, I'll
Eric.
introduce myself. Yeah, I'm Eric Shanfelt. I'm the founding partner of Nearview Media. We're consultant for media companies on the digital strategy. I've been doing digital media for 30 years. Anybody has a little bit of gray hair out there, my joke is always since Al Gore invented the internet. I was formerly the senior VP of digital for Penton Media, which is now part of Informa, a consumer enthusiast, Interweave, HarperCollins. I've been married for over 30 years. I got 2 girls, a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. Yes, I can use all the prayers I can get for that. They're awesome, though. Huge Colorado Avalanche fan on that. And yeah, little side note, my wife, Christy, actually was the ad trafficker for Penton's engineering group many moons ago. So I got to see the ad operations side of this inside and out too.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Eric. Eric is insanely busy, but a legendary name in the space. I ran into him at the City and Regional Magazine Conference, I think it was, and then many times at Niche and all the ones that follow. So thank you very much for joining us today. Just before we get started, I'll tell you guys, when we talk about like goals, a lot of us have sales goals. I just have a user goal, right? I set a goal for myself that we'd have 100 publishers who weren't already Broadstreet users to try out our Hitchhiker tier. Hitchhiker is the first free tier we've ever done at Broadstreet since 2016. There's a long story to how we got to where we are today, but Broadstreet kind of started out as a hobbyist project. A lot of built a little bit of a fan base, but at some point we said we have to turn this into a business, and we had to sunset our free tier temporarily because it's back in one way or the other. So if you're not a Broadstreet user and you want to check out Hitchhiker, there's a special ad format called a super snapshot that you can create, and it's pretty awesome. But if a lot of like the things that make Broadstreet really useful to publishers, there's one ad format they can put to good use no matter what ad platform you're on. So have a look at that.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to just call is I try to do a weekly thing, but it's wound up being a little bit less frequent than that. Just called highvaluepublishing.com. It's a podcast. It goes on YouTube and on popular podcast platforms. I'll probably put this on it, Kenny, if you're open to that. But it's all kinds of various tips and strategies, digital tips and strategies for media companies. So yeah, go check it out. Completely free. Go check it out.
Cool. And just in terms of the recording, because every time we're done with a webinar, we get a million requests for the recording. We'll 100% have them. Usually what we do, we cut it up, pretty it up, put it on YouTube. So you guys all have the link at some point. So me and Eric's promise today, we're going to keep this simple, right? And I think that was one of the, we have a lot of different ideas on media kits, but one thing that I think the thing that we agree on most fervently is that it should be simple. So we're going to keep it simple for you guys. So it all starts, this is an actual email that I got at Red Bank Green, but I've gotten this email many times before. Hello, I'm interested in your advertising rates. Thank you. My name is Joseph. It's for Bagel Station on Monmouth Street. So Joe, Bagel Station, reaches out and like a true small business owner, ends the email, concludes it, and then opens it again. So this is legit, right? But this is the question. We get this question all of the time as publishers, as sales reps. What do we do here? And I'm curious for anybody in the chat, what do you think the next step should be? What would
Also,
you do
while they're
in this
doing that in the
situation?
chat, I want to point out one thing. Notice the footer sent from Samsung Galaxy smartphone. A lot of your advertisers, I don't care if you're in a B2B market, B2C market, they're going to be looking at your website in mobile, and they're going to be sending from their mobile device. So make sure you're checking out your not just your website, but your advertising pages, that they look great in mobile.
All right, that's a great point. All right, what else we got? So we got someone saying cicada sending rate card. Alan, call him. Offer to hop on a call, schedule an appointment. Send them the media kit. Do what they asked. That would seem obvious, too obvious.
You know what, dude? I really like Renato's response. Check out Bagel Station online. Yeah, number
That's
one,
actually
go.
that's actually the best idea.
Yeah, go research these people. Figure out who they are. Figure out what they do. Figure out how you can meet their needs, and then you do your
Yeah,
outreach
see
to
if they're
them. I
active
love
on
that,
social
Renato.
media, see the stuff they're proud of, all of that. That's a really good point. Um, I am not the type that likes to send out the media kit. In fact, I didn't do that in this situation. I got back with an email shared in our last webinar, but it was basically like, hey, let's hop on a call, talk about it 15 minutes. And he was all about it, right? So my fear is uh, that you know, he's going to look at the media kit and become confused, right? And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. So, just some myths. If you would give the advertiser, you would ask them to get on the phone, just type phone into the chat. If you think that's the next step, I just want to see how many people, because that was a suggestion, but I want to see how many people think getting on the phone is a good next step. All right. Oh, Kathy says he didn't ask for the media kit, he asked for rates. I think sometimes they just ask for the thing that they think they're supposed to ask for. My fear with giving them the rates is that they're going to draw their own conclusions about what it is that we do, and like, who knows what's going to happen after that. So we got lots of people who think we should get on the phone. All right. One of the biggest myths about a media kit is that it's like a menu. You send it over, and that people are going to look it over and kind of make a decision on what they want. Um, I was thinking about it, and have you ever been to a restaurant that was like kind of fancy, and there was something that you like kind of wanted, but the name you just couldn't even pronounce? So you're like, I'm not even going to bother. And then you're like, I'll just order off the kids' menu. It's totally fine. So it's a menu, but it's kind of like a menu in another language. Media kits, they can come off as confusing to everyday people. It's a poor replacement for a salesperson. And I find that they're best as a lead generator, a conversation starter, or the icing on the cake. Usually, after I'm done with the whole sales process and the sales conversation, along with my proposal, I send it on and be like, and here's my media kit. And it's more of just like, this is what I'm all about. Read that. Eric, what do you think of that?
So in a way it is a menu because your media kit is going to have the things that you can offer to advertisers to help connect them to their potential customers. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's not the salesperson. It's just a tool. And I think that's the real key here is I think a lot of us will tend to lean on our media kit as the sales tool or as the seller rather than me being the seller and connecting with them, having a discussion and using it as a tool to facilitate that discussion.
Absolutely. A good seller, and we just did a webinar on what we call the LIFT system: listen, imagine, float, transact. And basically, it's figuring out where that prospect is today. What is the reason they even reached out in the first place? Because there was a reason. And seeing what you can do to take them there. And I think there's just something so powerful because I don't want to confuse them. I don't want them to have to do any work. I want to bring them on as a paying customer. So everything I can do to remove any friction from that, as much friction as I possibly can. So this is an example of what I wrote back to an advertiser at the top. Said attaching my media kit. If you want to see how it all comes together, I think it'd be a really good thing. I pitched about 5K a month. The response I got was, Kenny, I am in. And at the end of the email, it said media kit is really something. And it wasn't the first person to say that. So when we think about media kits, a lot of times we think it's about us. It's about our products, our story, all of that. But as much as like those are the elements, it's kind of coming at it from the wrong direction. It's really about them. It's about helping them understand a little more about us, understand if like we might be the ones who might be able to help them. And the products, which is like probably the number one thing that we think should go in a media kit, right? They're important, they're necessary, but they're actually not the top priority. In my like experience, there are other things we can put in the media kit that really help push that sale in our direction. But importantly, it's got to be simple. It's got to be something they can understand.
There was a great question, Kenny, that Nancy put in the chat. She says, just about 3 years ago, our company moved away from a PDF media kit, transitioned to a media kit website where all this information is on a website. And was that good or bad? And I just wanted to just do a quick comment on that one. I do see companies doing that, but I will oftentimes see people put way too much information on that. And that what's going to happen is if your idea is to give people on your website enough about you to encourage them to want to contact you and start to chat, right? We're not a self-service ad platform like Meta ads or Google ads. We need to have that conversation. So too many times I actually do see you put too much information on the web, and that can backfire because people just read it and they're like, okay, I know everything. I don't need to talk to you guys.
Yep.
So just a little thought on that.
So one of our advantages as small publishers is our ability to guide someone through the sale, right? And that's something that they're not going to be able to talk to a rep at Facebook usually unless there's an enormous amount of spend. They're not going to be able to talk to anybody at Google unless there's an enormous amount of spend. And a lot of small business owners in both local and B2B have been burned trying to market, working with an agency, and just feel like they don't know. They just want someone to. Most business owners do not have a ton of time to just figure stuff out. So they want to trust somebody. They usually have budget, they have money, and they will spend that money to work with somebody that they trust to do the job. So that's one of our advantages, is that we can be that person to kind of walk them through it. So this one we'll probably start a little bit of a debate in the chat. If you think a media kit should have pricing in it, right? And by the way, this isn't a myth, because I'll just tell you right now, I'm going to straddle the fence on this one. Do you think the media kit should have pricing in it? Just type pricing or put a dollar bill in the chat. Oh, we got some yeses. We got no's. We got yeses and no's, which I thought might happen.
Well, I like Kennedy's starting at.
Oh, starting at's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we got yeses, no's. I think we're perfectly divided. Now the thing is, I don't like putting prices in the media kits. I'll tell you why. But I know that I think Eric, you like it, and I know the famous Ryan Dorn. I run into Ryan Dorn at a conference. He likes media kit. I mean, he likes pricing in the media kits, and he has some great points about it. But I'll tell you what. I think that if you omit pricing, right, it encourages more conversations. Because I don't want people to draw any conclusions about what I do, because what I do at Red Bank Green is very different than what everyone else does. There's a lot of things that factor into that price, and I don't want them to draw conclusions and be like, oh, it's cheaper with Google, right? That said, if you add pricing, you're probably going to frustrate a lot less people, and you're probably going to qualify your buyers, because if they already know your rate card and that was publicly posted, chances are if they talk to you, like, they know what your pricing is. So there are benefits and trade-offs. Eric, you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm going to take maybe a little different approach to this. I actually do think you need to put some base level pricing into a media kit, and you'll see when I show the template later on, if you just put pricing on something but don't give any dynamics around that pricing, like what you're going to get for that pricing, then you're missing up on a big opportunity. And then, I always want to talk about, hey, look, this is the base level pricing, but there are packages that we can do together. The more you spend, the more you save, kind of thing. So I do like having some pricing in there, but I don't like putting in big pricing charts and 1x, 3x, 6x, 12x rates with these different things. And I don't like that. I keep the pricing really, really simple.
Oh, totally. And Dylan just threw that link to Broadstreet's pricing in my face in the chat. Broadstreet ad stuff. It's true. Well, I think in SaaS, I felt like we had to do it, and also because we were a small show for a long time, and so I needed people to be pre-qualified before I talked to them, because otherwise there would be a lot of conversations with people who we may not be right for them. So there's no right answer. We could tell just from the chat, the wisdom of the crowd, that there probably wasn't a right answer there. All right. I think I think we need to pull the chat one more time here. If you have ever had a great sales conversation, been in the midst of a sale, and you've gotten ghosted. If you have ever been ghosted in a sales conversation, someone reaches out, they send you that email. Send me my rates. Here's the rates. And they go, just type ghost into the chat. We have any ghosts, any spooky ghosts? I keep flipping my slide here. Tons of ghosts. Yeah, they're annoying. right? I'll tell you the two ways to, you can't eliminate ghosts entirely. Some people are tire kickers. We know that. You've been in sales, like you know that some people are tire kickers. There are two ways to get ghosts, right? Keep your house ghost free. Make them think. If you make advertisers think, they stall, right? Because then they're like, I have to think about that. And then they put their phone back in their pocket, right? And then I'll do that later. Later, when it comes to, a small business owner, it never actually happens. They never do it later unless they're reminded to do it. So if you make them think or you make them work, okay, just go through this media kit, just pick out, just let me know. Let me know. That's another great way to get a ghost, to end an email conversation with let me know. Just let me know if it looks good. You will get a ghost. We could kind of spur lots of ghosts by sending the media kits and asking them to let us know.
Hey, Kenny, I want to throw out one little thing here, though, real quick with this. I think sometimes too much we have that initial conversation, we send it out, and then maybe we connect, we send out the media kit, and then we don't hear back from people, and maybe we follow up once or twice. But I think I saw this at the publishing, no, sorry, the niche media conference here. Great from the National Sales Executive Association. It said basically that only 2% of sales are made in the first contact, 3% in the second, 5% in the third. It's not until the 5th to 12th contact that 80% of sales are made. So I think sometimes we just throw the media kit over the fence and we're like, I'm done, wash my hands of it and move on.
True, and that's exactly true. And Tori says, ghosting says that a person doesn't see the value or solution to what we have shown them. But I think there's a catch, Tori. There's a catch that they might have wanted to, but it took some work, right? They wanted to look through the media kit and they ghosted because they didn't see the value yet because they weren't able to give it enough of an effort because it took too much time. There was too much friction between them and actually seeing the value. So thank you for that. All right, let's talk about the goals of a media kit. It's a starting point for a prospective business. A lot of time we have it on our advertise page. We post it on our website. We use it as kind of like a lead gen thing, put in your email, or some of us just post it without being in the lead form. Again, you get the trade-off of more people read your media kit. Some people don't want to put their email address into the lead form. Certainly a trade-off, but it serves as a tool in sales discussions to build authority, create connection, communicate your ideas, and make a final impression. In my case, that's the way I used it. But one of the most important things is that's repeatable, because I think anybody who's been in a sales conversation, I've been in thousands and thousands of sales conversations. Not all of them are 10 out of 10. I'm not always feeling my best some days, but the media kit is the same thing every time, representing you the way that you designed it. And repeatable things, I love them. And as we're going to grow our business, we need things that are repeatable, things that we can hand off to our staff that they can use. So that's one of the beautiful elements of a media kit. But ultimately, the goal is to help them and support you in helping them. So let's hop in to what exactly should go into a media kit. And believe it or not, some of these, which may sound obvious, somehow get missed in a media kit. So first, what is the place? And this could be a geographical entity, like Red Bank, New Jersey in my case, or it could be your industry. Like, what is it that you're covering? So what I like to do is make it clear that Red Bank Green in my case is like the king of Red Bank, that we belong to Red Bank, that we are the authority on Red Bank, that we're dedicated to it. We know it better than anyone else. And our community, if you're a national publisher, can also be a demographic or a broader audience. Eric, in the B2B space, what is place?
So place would be your market, your industry, your community, your people. I guess what's his name would call it, your tribe. But it's like saying, hey, if you serve electronic engineers, okay, that's fine. That's your place. In other words, I think what you're talking about here, Kenny, is you need to establish your connection to this specific market. So this advertiser knows that you serve this particular market, whether it's a geographical market, whether it's a demographic market on a national level. You serve this specific market and you are a good fit for them to reach the kinds of people that they're trying to reach as customers. That to me is what place means.
Absolutely. So this is how I do it at Red Bank Green. right? Everyone knows this corner, Red Bank, Club Red. I want to be in the club. At least I think that's what I want people to think, right? So this is how our state does it down North Carolina. That beautiful picture of the pier. Auto
Yeah, I
body
throw out this
media.
one because this is a B2B client I work with, and they serve auto body repair shops, and you can clearly see not only just by their name, but there's a guy working on a car paint repair, so yeah, pretty clear.
Absolutely. New Jersey family. Got that picture of the family on the beach. It is Jersey Shore season, by the way, and we do. It is. Red Bank is around the Jersey Shore, and for everyone listening, it's exactly what you think it is on TV. But no, that's what people usually like to hear. So, purpose. All right, what is our purpose? Just a business. We have a service. I'd like something deeper, something broader, right? And I like to immediately share the mission and vision. Why does Red Bank Green exist? Now, a lot of people do this really well. You should have one. A lot of times, like you might think of a mission and vision as something that you only have if you're a nonprofit. It's not the case. Regardless of your tax status, you should have a reason for doing what you do. A reason that, like, even if you guys didn't even get paid, that you would keep doing what you did. So I like to show how partners play into the mission, the story of what we're doing. I think the more directly illustrated, the better. And I'm very transparent with the financials and everything about Red Bank Green. In fact, a lot of ways I run Red Bank Green kind of like a nonprofit because I put so much on the table. But here's our state. Our state celebrates the very best of North Carolina from the mountains to the coast through lively storytelling and stunning photography. Love that.
Yes, I threw this one here with Siemens Media. Hey, Eric. I love this on here because you're very clear when you first get into their media kit. They immediately talk about, look, this is our goal. This is what we're supposed to do, and here's who we are. So the idea is once you've established that you're the right place, you are that your advertiser's market. The next thing is basically saying, okay, why should we do business with you, New England Soccer Journal or Red Bank Green or Auto Body News? Why? Who are you, and why the heck should we be doing business with you? So to me, that's purpose.
Absolutely. I think this was Village Media. Talk about their the different organizations that they're involved in, their responsibility. So I like when it's, kind of get into, like I said, something a little deeper, a little broader. And this is one of the things that's really important to me, something I've said, I'd say pretty loud and publicly. Like my goal is to make sure that Red Bank Green stands for 100 years. I think that the original publisher made such a gem at Red Bank Green that it's been around for 18. I want it to stand like its predecessor, the Red Bank Register. This ran from 1878 to 1991. So I told everyone, Red Bank Green for 100 years. I want Red Bank Green to be around to cover the local news, to tell the story of our community, tell the story of all the fun that we had for 100 years. And our partners really like that. They like being a part of something like that, the story that we're telling. So this is how I put together, this is my version of putting the pricing in the media kit. So it's our partnership model. I kind of lay it out exactly how much we need to make the thing operate sustainably, um, in a way that it's prosperous, right? So we got our community pillars on the top, right? I keep it very simple. We work with a maximum of like 35 advertisers. This slide has since been updated, by the way, but got our community pillars up top, local authorities, local legends, and we just play it out and just show who's involved and how it all adds up. So next, the people. Who are the people behind the publication? And this used to be this was number one. Me and Eric talked about it, but this was originally first in the list because the power of connecting people to other people cannot be understated. So who are your readers? And I like to make them feel as real instead of just like metrics, like page views, readers, like they're real people. And, you know, who are the readers behind it? Who are the founders? Who is the team? Who is the board? Of course, what are the demographics, depending on your industry, if that's really important. I say that 40,000 people in Red Bank read Red Bank Green. right? I want them to think about the actual people and not just these cold computer metrics. How did they become involved? Why do they think it's important? So this is how I do it in the beginning, right? I just tell them that, I think we're pretty good at what we do, that we're going to do a really good job for them, and introduce myself right in the media kit. But demographics are important too. I don't get this far into it, but this is one of the most common elements of a media kit. Now, I don't like to go into like uniques. I think this is Greater Long Island. I don't like to just think of them as uniques and page views and signups, because even though they're somewhat ubiquitous in terms of marketing terms, not everyone may know what they mean. I like to say readers.
Yeah, yeah. When we talk about demographics here, and we look at the sample media kit, I think there's two things. There's your reach, right? How many people are you reaching in various channels? And then there's your demographics of those people. And yeah, Bob, slides are presenting, so something must be wrong with your login.
All right, this is another one. I think it was Bethesda Magazine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw that some of those. I think some of the folks are on here too. But this is just another example I thought was really good, showing some demographics on here, and on the right hand side a little bit of their distribution here.
Yep, just ran into Jen. I think they're with Today Media now.
Yeah, they
And
are.
just a minor note, I think this is another Greater Long Island. I just like that the founder and his team kind of showing behind the scenes right on the cover of their media kit. That's always cool. So who are the partners? Who are the people that are playing into this thing? Who have you worked with? What are they saying? And me and Eric were talking about this yesterday. Testimonials. You almost never see that in a media kit. So we want to share the thoughts of some well-known or influential people. And I like kind of stray away from the political types. Like I just want some people who are like well-known, doing good for the community. Not that couldn't if they weren't in politics, but anybody who's like kind of like a divider. So this is an example that Eric dropped in. Actually, was this mine or was this yours,
That's
Eric?
yours.
Oh, sweet. I think this actually might be from County 10. So what our clients have to say, got some nice testimonials here. This is Eric's.
Yeah, this is the one I dropped in from Central New York Business Journal. I really love this. This is specifically for their events section, where they wanted to talk specifically about events. So the use of testimonials, social proof, is huge.
It's so powerful. And I'll show you how I do it. I've got it in a couple of different places, but this is one of them. This is Joe Bagel. He eventually came on board. So he started off asking for media kits. We hopped on a call, exchanged some emails, got him live. And that bagel, he has a famous bacon and egg flavored bagel, which I got with bacon and egg on it because I thought that would just blow my mind. So he's in there, and he really, really loved the way the campaign went. Here's another one, local news now, Scott at Arlington, one of those types that I always like to listen to what he's doing because he's always doing some fun, very cool things. When AI came out, he was one of the first people with like an AI generated newsletter, just as an experiment to see how it went. Pain points. What are the problems that you solve? And this one is actually overlooked frequently, but can really resonate. And when I send sales emails, when I like, kind of I want to figure out what is the thing, what is the pain, and I feel like that word is like, it's almost cliche at this point, pain points. The things that I hear the most in a sales conversation is that whatever they're doing, if they're working with an agency, if they're working with Facebook, they're working with Google, they spend money on advertising, but they feel like it's a waste of money. They post on social media, on Facebook, they built up this huge audience. I think publishers can probably identify. We got 400 or, we got 10,000, 20,000 followers on Facebook. And now when we do a post, we get 2 likes too. Sometimes it says like, in the insights, it's like got in front of 0 people. Sweet. I spent a lot of time growing that audience. Or someone will say, this is somebody who's the head of marketing at a pretty big nonprofit near me. I just need someone to take care of it for me. Right? These are the 3 biggest ones that I hear. So how do we approach that in the media kit? This is one way that I do it. Adam, who is the owner of a regional brewery called Triumph, very well known in New Jersey, maybe Eastern Pennsylvania too. He said advertising almost always feels like taking piles of money and throwing it down a deep hole. I love the way that small business owners talk. They're just so straightforward, get right to the point.
Yeah,
This
by
is
the way, I
another.
was going to say, when you talk about pain points that advertisers face, this is the best way I like to integrate those. I like to integrate it into testimonials that are spread throughout the media kit.
Absolutely. Actually, pro tip, when you're getting a testimonial, right? Lariel Lipkins, one of my favorite sales trainers, doesn't really focus on digital media, but she focuses on, lots of different industries. But she says when you get a testimonial, ask three questions. Where were you before you started working with us? Right? Describe your situation, what was frustrating you. All right. Second question, where were you or where are you today? Describe the situation, how it's better, right? And then the third question, absolutely critical. What would you say to someone who is on the fence about working with me? And that is such a killer, right? Because it just speaks directly to the things that potential prospect in the future is potentially feeling, and that hesitation, should I trust this person after getting burned so many times? So powerful. So one of my favorites. All right. Does this sound familiar? There's another thing. Getting seen or liked on social media is unpredictable. Spending money on Google and Facebook doesn't seem to get noticeable or measurable results. You don't have an expert to help you figure out what to do. That describes a lot of people, even the folks who are the heads of marketing, right? They have lots of things to do. And this particular part of marketing, whether it's digital marketing, whether it's marketing in print, something that you do, they need someone who can make it a little more turnkey, who can guide them through it. Were you going to say something, Eric?
I was just going to throw out that I was seeing a little thread going on in the chat about people talking about people relying on Facebook posts instead of wanting to advertise with you. To me, that's a separate discussion that maybe we can have it at a different time. Is how do you compete with Facebook and Google? We're not probably able to get that here. So, but again, I think the key thing with your media kit here, though, is to show what you bring to the table, your audience, your mission, your purpose, how you serve advertisers, and focus on that.
I will tell you my number one Facebook and Google killer. When I talk to, which almost every advertiser I talk to in a sales conversation is spending money or has spent money with Google or Facebook in the past, I say, is it working? And you know what they say? They say, I don't know. They have no idea if it's working. They say I get together with my agency once a month and they tell me like how great I did, but like I don't know if it's actually converting anybody. Right? It's the same problem. They don't know if it's actually working. They're doing it because they think that they should be doing Facebook and Google, but they don't actually know if it's working. If you just ask that question, is it working? A lot of times they just say they don't. They don't know. So I have successfully moved quite a few budgets over from Facebook and Google, or at least taken some of that budget
Yeah, yeah.
and moved it over
I
to
just
them.
want I just want to make sure that we're staying on track though with the media kit here. We only have so much time.
Oh yeah. So the process. So when someone's about to buy, they're kind of curious about like what comes next. If I say yes, then what happens next? And what you want to do is light the path. So what will happen if I say yes? What are the next steps? Well, after you say yes, then what we do is we set up a call. We talk about this. I make a plan for whatever that might be. How is this problem going to, or how is their problem going to be solved in a unique way? How will they be guided through the process? How do you make it feel absolutely friction-free? And is it a proven process? Maybe some testimonials to go along with it. And that's the thing. You want to make it so all they have to do is say yes, and you will do the rest. You make it nice and easy. Less friction in the sales process, the better. This is just one way that County 10 does it. Will Hill out in County 10 just kind of puts his three uniques for anyone who's a fan of traction or EOS. What are your three uniques in solving the problem? And then products. This is actually the last P. It's the last 7 before we take a look at some of the sample media kits that we put together. So the products are a necessary component, but I don't think they're actually the most useful necessarily. I think that all of the important stuff actually came before this, and this is kind of just one of those necessary items. So what are your tiers or individual products? Some people like to have tiers, presence. What were the 3 tiers that we were talking about, Eric? We got like presence, something dominant, right?
Oh yeah, there's I forget what it is. This is a Ryan Doran tactic to say, hey, put together these like different packages for people if they just want to kind of dip their toe in the water, if people just want like to be a strong presence, or if people want to dominate a market. That's it, Tony. Presence, compete, dominate. You've talked to
Presence,
Ryan
compete,
before.
dominate. So my way of doing it is that I like to give them names. How do the advertisers think of themselves? Community pillar, that's my top tier. Local authority for my professionals, my lawyers, my CPAs, right? Local legends for my mom and pops. So I like to think, what are the aspirational ways of thinking about tiers instead of like, I think, bronze, silver, gold. I can't get excited over that. Or you can do it a la carte. And that's kind of fun too, especially if you got a few different products. And I like to give things names. Not everybody likes to do that, but I've seen some really good media kits with a la carte items in there. So, a little item on products and pricing. So, generally, there are three things to think about when you're thinking about your products. It's got to be simple because, well, it's got to be simple, it's got to be unique, and it's got to be specific. So simple, easy to understand, unique, something that only you do, not something that they can get for cheap on Google or someone else, and specific to the problem that they solve. And if you are simple and unique, right, but you're not specific to their problem, you're kind of going to run into objections why it's not going to work. People are always scanning for reasons something's not going to work. They have to believe it's going to work for them. Something is simple and specific, but it's not unique, meaning it's kind of like a commodity, you're going to run into objections on price because that means other people are probably doing the same thing if it's not unique. So then people are going to beat you up on price. So it's got to be difficult to compare. And if it's unique and specific, but it's not simple, we're going to have to make them think. And that's when we might get ghosts. We don't want any ghosts. So it has to be understandable. So when you're thinking about your products, me and Eric, I think we've both done stuff on packaging and pricing. You want to keep it simple and easy to understand because that's where the money is, Ben Franklin. So here's my community pillar. Put them up top. Also goes in our newsletter. Keep it pretty simple. This is something that's important to see just for like the agency type. This is Village Media. This is a slide that is like, if you have bigger buyers that normally buy in a CPM, sometimes it is simple to just lay it out like this because they're going to look through it and take the thing that they think might actually be effective. So this is not the way I would do it for a mom and pop type buyer. Here we got another one. I like the way this is just laid out. Skyscraper, billboard, sponsored posts, keeping it simple. Potomac Local, Uriah down there. Another one for Greater Long Island. Keeping it very simple with only 2 sponsored content packages on the right and some display stuff on the left.
Yeah, this is one I ripped off from Eric Siemens over at Siemens Media again because I thought they did a great job on this one. This was how they're showing their print. I mean, print. I do like the fact that they're saying here, "Hey, look, here's our various issues throughout the year. The keys about that." And then I really loved the visual on the right-hand side, saying, "Hey, here's just very basic the kinds of print advertising that you can buy from us." So I just liked this particular example. I've seen all kinds of variants of this.
Oh yeah, so can't forget our print stuff and what do we got here? Editorial calendar.
Yeah, and then this was an editorial calendar that I had from In Compliance on B2B. So this is another print version. I really liked how they laid out their editorial calendar, and then the next screen is actually showing the visuals of the specifications that you can buy. Print, I'm not always a huge fan of specifications in here, but I did like the visuals in the upper left-hand corner of the various kinds of things that you can buy. Keeping it simple.
Yeah, I think if you're going to do something as complex as specs, which to some buyers they know what specs are. To others, I think most of my advertisers at Bank Rain, they would probably scare them. But having visuals is really powerful.
And this was from LBM Journal, not a B2B trade journal. This is on the digital side. They're showing their products. So you can see here, they're saying this is one of the pages from their digital products. Hey, here's a wallpaper ad. I do like how they talk about, take over the left and right side of our entire website, incredible branding response. It talks about the benefits, then how it works, and then gives a very quick kind of high-level rate on the right-hand side. Again, the welcome prestitial. There's the benefits, kind of how it works, and the cost, and then a nice little visual to whet the appetite.
And they got that pricing in there too.
They do. I am a fan of that.
All right, we got Biz New Orleans, the website, and then the email. And then, all right, so we put together a little repository of all these sample media kits. I know we went through some, the highlights, but we put together a Google Drive. I think, Eric, you might have dropped some more in there. So we have a Google Drive link linked in this presentation. So Tommy, do you have a link to this? You want to just drop all of the links in the chat? Because we got some really good stuff here. But if you do not have a media kit, if you don't even have one, you're starting from scratch, all right, well, we got some templates coming up next, but this is what you were going to do if you were like, those templates are great, I want to do my own thing. That's the way I do it. You know, someone gives me a good starting point, I'm like, nah, I got to reinvent it. So make one from scratch. Start with a blank Google slide, PowerPoint keynote. I personally like Google Slides because it's easier to collaborate. Create a title and body slide for each section you need, right? Basically those 7 Ps. Fill it with the text and images you want in each slide, and then just worry about the content. Then what you do is that you ask a designer to make it look pretty. And Marge on our team has done an exceptional job making all of my hideously ugly presentations look pretty. So find a style that you like and say, maybe something like this with these colors. And you can take an ugly presentation and have it designed totally custom to the way you want it for somewhere between 100 and 300 bucks. So I'm going to show you my media kit at Red Bank Green, and then we're going to go over the templates that we put together for you guys. Me and Eric each put together a template, made it look nice. So, Tommy, can you see my screen still?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool. So this is Club Red. Next slide, we got the testimonial from Adam. Next, we got the letter from me. Our partnership model. We stand to have Red Bank Green serve Red Bank for 100 years. Talk about, I don't go too far into the demographics. I just say 40,000 people from Red Bank, Middletown, Fairhaven, Little Silver, and Rumson. And talk to those pain points. Our community pillar package, our local authority. So actually, some of you in the B2B space might like this local authority unit. We just started putting it together. It's a sidebar unit, leaderboard. It's pretty awesome. And you can also like it or mark it as insightful now. So it's got some social features to it. And then our local legends. This is Adam. His calendar of artists and acts is updated automatically. So that's one of the things I can't do on Facebook and Google is just kind of get that automated updating. And then we end on one last testimonial. Joe from Bagel Station with that bacon and egg bagel. And I think that's pretty much it. Okay, let's head over to our media kit template that you guys all have access to now. And I will show you, actually, I think I'm just going to do it like this. Tommy, you still see my screen?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. So we got a cover slide. If you do not have a media kit, what you can do is you come up here and you go to File, Make a Copy, and of the entire presentation. And then what you can do is that you can go ahead and you can obviously put your logo in here. You can replace the image to put whatever background you want in there. And then Marge set it up on our team so that you actually had template slides for each item that are in the 7 Ps. So we got our cover, got our mission and vision. You can see this is a little Red Bank Green influenced, right? And it's kind of a dark version. I know some people probably, at least half of us, probably like a light version too, so that'll come eventually. But it's got everything that you need, including the demographics. Now, we used to have a Google Docs template. It was like, the big Word doc. That's like the older version. That's a few years old. I love the slides, mainly because it's something that people can easily flip through on their phone. When you send a media kit or any sales email, you have to be aware that they're probably looking at it on their phone. And just something that when it's rendered as a PDF, they can look at it in their phone. And also because it's in Google Slides, you go ahead and edit it real easy or give it to someone else to work on. So let's take a look at Eric's media kit.
Yeah, I'll just share my.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, well, you can walk through it. You can walk through it there. All right, so I put this little together here. Thanks for that link, Tommy. So I just threw this out here. You can replace the logo with your own. You can replace the background image with whatever designates your market. But your very front page should show who you are, the market that you serve. Okay, this is the place. All right, this is the purpose. So hey, I want to know exactly who you are, what you do. Your mission point should be short. It should be right there. Barbara, I particularly like landscape orientation because I think it works better for presentations. It can also print out well on 8.5 by 11. But then I want a quick description of the publication there, and tell me basically why. Why should I be doing business with you, with your company? And then maybe a nice little graphic over their image. It's just a placeholder image. And then I like to get a testimonial right in there right away. But you're going to keep your testimonials short. These big, long 5-paragraph testimonials, no one's going to read. Try to get photos in there of people if you can. Also, you'll notice at the footer, I've always got your brand down there, and I've always got the primary sales email and sales phone number on every single slide. All right, next one, Kenny. All right, so this is the audience page. I didn't go real deep on this one here, but I did dive in here and say, okay, give me a quick little description about your audience. What's unique about your audience? Who are these people? And if you can't do it in just a couple of sentences, 250 characters or so, you've got too much copy. This is one of the things, by the way, I'll throw out there. Take the amount of copy you think needs to be in your media kit, cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. People aren't going to read these big giant paragraphs. But you can see, like here, I want to show this is an omni-channel publication, right? We have 120,000 people who are visiting our website every month. We have 35,000 print subscribers. Maybe you do print and digital, however you do your distribution. We've got 22,000 email subscribers. We've got 48,000 social media followers. This is your real audience. People aren't really going to care about how many website notifications you have. This is your core followers. Then your demographics over here, whatever that may happen to be. You got to tell people who they are. B2B publications, you're typically going to have a much deeper demographics, but try to condense this all into one page. So on one page, I get a feel for who you are serving, who's reading your publication. If you want to put a testimonial from a reader on here too, that's an awesome thing. All right, next page. So then I want to talk about, hey, here's other people who are advertising with us. This is a great way to work on a few testimonials. A little bit about hey, this is how we work with our advertisers. This is why their success is important to us, right? This is talking all about them. And then I want to, who are the most important companies in your market? I'm going to just list them all there. Now, I don't want to go hog wild and put 100 on there, but I can put at least 12 of the most important companies out there and then have a few good testimonials. Again, this is just a template. Feel free to play with it and do with it what you want. All right, go ahead, keep going.
Oh yeah, putting those influential logos. Every industry has the movers and shakers who like kind of influence everyone else. You got to put those in there.
Our partners are our advertisers, Kimmy. You could say our advertisers if you want, but I'm a lot of times media companies will refer to their advertisers as their partners because you're trying to partner with them to grow their business at the end of the day. By the way, little side note, I had the best seller I ever worked with was very consultative. He was in a B2B publication. And I overheard him on the phone one day with a client, and he said, yeah, the client was asking, well, is this going to work? He's like, I absolutely know this is going to work for you. I'll tell you why, because I want to sell you 5 times. I don't want to just sell you once. The whole point, the mentality was, I want to sell you what's going to help you grow your business, not just something that's going to give me a commission. Anyway, now I'm going into the products. So I think print is enough that you need to have kind of 2 pages for it. You need to have your kind of editorial calendar. Let's go back one. You have your editorial calendar. And then I put up some little interesting stuff here. Greg, if you're on here with Arlington, he put out a couple good points there in the year after year comment up there, a few other bullet points showing the fact that, hey, print is still really effective. And then I want to have a print testimonial on this page. Okay, next one. All right, then I talk about the opportunities, right? And again, Greg, I ripped this off from you because I really like the way you guys did it here. But nice visuals to show these are the print opportunities. I'm not getting real deep into specs here. I'm not getting real deep into specs, but I want to see the visuals of what someone can buy. Kimmy, editorial calendar is oftentimes used in media kits because there are certain advertisers who want to advertise against key topics that you may be covering. And then the deadlines on the right-hand side. All right, let's go to the next one. So then I dive into These are our web opportunities. Your web opportunities may be different, but I put in some good ones here. I use New Orleans Magazine because I really worked closely with them on their media kit. And you can see we're really tight on this. But the first thing we do is a little description that says, this is the benefit of this particular opportunity. And then notice we're also controlling supply and demand, only 8 advertisers per month, right? Controlling supply and demand. We're telling them what they're going to get. We have a price. We're having large ad sizes, and then a welcome ad, same thing. So you can read these as you like. Keep going. All right. Then I talk specifically about email opportunities, and typically you're going to have you may have different kinds here, guys. One of the things that I see is most publishers have way too many products, especially on the digital side. Don't do that. What you need to do here is you need to focus in your products, and your media kit is actually a reflection of what your ad strategy is. So if you've got way too many products, you got to readdress your ad strategy and nail that down. So anyway, typically email newsletter, advertisers. I like having a single sponsor per newsletter and a dedicated email. All right, let's move on. Then I got to talk about social media, co-branded social media. For those of you in the chat who have been saying, I don't have a big enough audience, every one of you has a big enough audience if you do co-branded social media. When I'm done here, I'll put a link to that in the chat for you. And then you may have other products here, right? You may have in-person events, you may have webinars, you may have sponsored content. Go back one. You may have lead generation, right? You can put quick hits for each of these kinds of products. All right, next one. All right, so then I hate rate cards. I will put this in the chat for everyone if you want to watch this here. I absolutely hate rate cards because I think it rewards print for spending print. And what I'm going to say is, I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you buy a lead gen program. I don't care if you buy a print ad. I don't care if you buy web or email or social. As you spend more, you will save more here. So I do what's called a total spend discount is what I typically like to do. And this helps encourage kind of an omni-channel approach as well. But anyway, you can get rid of that if you need to, but this keeps the pricing really simple when you go through. All right, next one. And then I talk about, okay, well, what are the next steps? Now, I like Kenny's approach where he talked about, hey, here's what's going to happen if you take the next steps with us. But I really want to say, what's the one action I want to take someone to take after they kind of review this media kit? Talk to me. Let's talk to us. We want to learn more about you. We want to learn more about your marketing objectives, and we're going to determine the best way to grow your business. So again, the one objective I want out of the media kit is to have that spark a further discussion with my sales reps. So that's the template I have.
Beautiful. All right. And it looks like we got the link to both of those in the chat. Am I right in that, Tommy? Mm-hmm. All right. Awesome. All right. Cool. So just as a recap, all right, in the media kit, we need place, purpose, people, partners, pain points, process, and products. Me and Eric went over so many things, right? So many things. And we're guilty of that because some webinars, they want to give you just one thing. I think me and Eric both like to put as much as we can and make it as valuable as we possibly can. But we will have the recording so you go back and pick over it. We'll send out the slides, we'll send out the media kit templates and all of the examples. But I want to ask, in the chat, if there was one thing that you took away that you thought was memorable, something that you thought like, okay, that was really good, that in itself could have been something that I would share with my team or I'd share with another publisher, what would it be for you? Just drop it in the chat. And sometimes that helps us highlight something for someone else. I forgot about that. They see that come up in the chat. So what do we got here? We got purpose, the 7 Ps, simplicity, absolutely.
Testimonials.
Having way too many digital products.
Simplicity. Yeah, that's a big one.
We got a common thread going here. Include process, redo the layout. Don't make them think. Classic. Steve showing the pricing, be as brief as possible.
I like Nancy's one up there. She said, demonstrate you're dedicated to your market and you know it better than anyone else.
All right, cool. So I think we probably got like a minute or two for any questions that might have popped up. Thank you everyone for being so interactive in the chat. It was awesome. If you have feedback for the webinar, I always like, if you want to email us, frontdesk@broadstreetads.com. That'll go to our team, and then I will also share it with Eric. I always like to know what we could improve, how we could get better. I know we don't do video. Me and Eric were talking about that. Next time, next webinar, we'll do video. And
I
I
do
am in
video.
this
I've got my fancy
process.
camera and all my fancy lights up today.
I know, and I don't have any of that. So, so the thing is, no, we will do video. And the thing is, I am in this process of continually improving these webinars. We had 800 people. We had 835 people registered for the webinar today. I think it might be one of the biggest webinars in publishing that I know of. Eric, do you know any webinars of
No,
work?
this was huge. This was awesome. I think this was this is a, I don't want to say a pain point, but this is definitely a nerve on it that everybody has.
Oh, totally. So I love having an opportunity to help that many people at once. Nothing can make me happier. So if you guys found it helpful, email me, frontdesk@broadstreetads.com. Love to hear about it. And any questions, any burning questions that did not get answered, just drop them into the chat. Eric, do you have a couple minutes?
I do.
All right, we'll hang on for just a couple minutes and then we'll bring this to a conclusion. But anything that, so will the chat and links be included with the recording? Yeah, I think so. We'll probably eventually put it on YouTube and drop it in the description. Thank you, Steve, for the compliment. Any burning questions?
I think a lot of people were asking questions along the way.
Yeah, maybe we got them all out. All right, I'm going to give it 60 seconds if we got any questions that maybe someone's like fiddling with their keyboard right now.
Is there a way to demonstrate interactive digital ads via the Media Kit? You can have links in your Media Kit that link off to a demo page on your site. That's probably the best way I would suggest to do it, Lawrence.
So yes, I've seen demo pages. I've seen digital media kits, and it's basically a page on the website with some examples. I've seen that work well.
Are people still using official circulation audits for their Media Kit data? I'll throw out my thoughts on this, Stacy. Audits used to be really, really important, especially in B2B trade markets. I see audits becoming less and less and less important over time. It still can be a market differentiator if you're audited and no one else is, but I am seeing them become less and less necessary over time.
Right. So Brian says, if you have a very targeted audience, how to tell them you are the best option, right? So I think it's a question of, a lot of times they're already working somewhere else. And there's that question, is that working well for you? And every business owner is in a position where it could be working better. So that's what I usually want to do. I just want to create the question because I can't necessarily make any assertions as to whether Red Bank Green is the best option, but I can say that we do a really good job and it's worth trying. So I usually open the question.
There's a good question here. Do you send? I saw a lot of questions in the chat thread about agencies. Yeah, I absolutely will send a media kit like this to agencies. And I want to try to engage in a discussion even with an agency. The agency advertiser relationship's a little complicated. I always want to try to get a discussion with the advertiser directly, but I will definitely work with their agency, and I will sell agencies pricing. But I'll tell you this, Angela, here's my little key. Agencies like to put you in a spreadsheet. You're nothing more than a row or cell in a spreadsheet, and they're going to evaluate you on a CPM, CPC, or CPA basis. And so I'll do things with agencies where they'll like ask, what's your average click-through rate for this particular ad position? And I'll say, oh, our average click-through, and in their spreadsheet, I'll actually type in, our average click-through rate is 0.1% to 1.7%, depending upon the effectiveness of the advertiser creative. Drives agencies flipping and saying, because I just want a number. I'm like, no, I'm not going to give you a number because, if you're selling left-handed gold-plated plunger handles, it's not going to sell as well as something else. So you got to be real careful with that.
So yeah, actually, I should mention that Village Media had a separate media kit, I think, for their local folks and their agencies. If I recall correctly, it could have been someone else, but sometimes they just had a different media kit. It was a little more transactional, a little more menu oriented for the agency types.
Are printed media kits still a thing, Kenny?
I haven't seen one in a long time.
Yeah, I think they're dead. And frankly, you don't. I'm seeing more and more companies do a media kit twice a year. They'll do one at the beginning and they'll do one midway through when they're adjusting things.
Right. I think it can be help. I mean, there's the idea of it being useful during a sales meeting if you do meet in person, but a lot of my sales meetings are just phone now.
Or even if you are meeting in person, you just have your laptop there or pop it up on their screen.
Yeah. Sometimes I think I like the low tech, if it's really well done print media kit, sometimes just showing them feels a little less invasive of like, look at my screen. It's like less like I'm trying to sell you something. I don't know.
Maisie asks if most publisher publications are free or paid. That's a loaded question. It really depends upon the market. Most B2B trade journals, for example, typically are free if you're qualified. There's a lot of publications that are free distribution publications. There's also a lot of like consumer publications and regional publications that are paid. So Maisie can go all over the place.
So Shannon asks, when you share your kit, are you sharing it as a PDF or the Google Slides? The Google Slides. Of
I'm going to
course,
share,
I'm
yeah,
using
we're
the raw
sharing the Google
material.
Slides and you can actually make a duplicate of it and adjust it as you want. But hey, I don't think either Kenny or I are going to pretend that we were like fantastic designers. We're trying to give you the basic outline and structure of something that you can then get designed to make look really good for
Hey,
you.
Eric, did you design your media kit?
I did. Well,
It was pretty tight. I liked it.
thanks, man.
Yeah, it was good. Marge gets all the credit. Mine was horrendous. It was black and white and like Arial font to begin with. Um,
Trevor had a good point. The more data you give to an agency, the more they can use it to hit you over the head. I'm 100% agreed. Give an agency the absolute minimum that you can give, and then give them the context to sell your product and make your agency look like they're the expert. Make the agency look like they're the hero. Going back to the advertiser, and you'll win.
all right, Kalpana asked, do testimonials need to come from name brand recognized businesses? I like one. Like one big logo, right? It doesn't have to come from like a name brand like I think the type of people that you intend to be selling to, find testimonials from people that like kind of like, match that profile. And I also like to go small, I like to go medium, I like to go large. You really don't need
Mhm.
to overdo it. You need like three,
Yeah.
but they don't have to all be really big ones.